Hey, what's going on, everybody? I can see familiar faces in the chat already. We got uh HVAC Alex. You changed your name, didn't you? Okay, Jennifer, Eddie. I saw Blogger in here, Brian. All the regulars. People are coming in already. Ashton, what's up? Just Work HVAC. Yeah, we got a group in here. So, welcome to the Reliable HVACR podcast and live stream. If you can't stay for the whole show, watch the replay later on YouTube, catch it on the go, anywhere you listen to podcasts. And today we have another special guest, another young guy killing it in the HVAC trade, none other than Efren. Let's bring him on real quick. What's up, man?
What's going on, Adrian? Thank you for having me, man.
A POP. I thought you were just being funny there, but that's pure on parole, right?
There you go. Yes, sir. Yes,
I was
sir.
like, I was like, wait, what? Poppy? I don't know.
Hey, you could call me that.
No, man. Uh, so how's it? How are you doing? How's the weather up in North Texas? We got a fellow Texan on the show today.
That's right. That's right. Texas is beautiful. So far, in fact, I saw a post not too long ago talking about Texas is just in its pre-heating season. So
Yeah.
it's been not too bad lately. I can't complain. It hasn't been cold, which is good.
What kind of numbers are you hitting up there weather wise?
Um, I think we're hanging around like 85. I think today we were at like 85. I mean, right now it's 79. So, yeah, it's
It's
not bad at
like,
all.
yeah, it's like Texas is so big and there's so many different areas. So
Yeah.
where I'm at, it's been 100 degrees.
Oh,
So yeah, it's been
ooh.
really hot outside. Trying to keep covered. Wear my hats, my sleeves, trying to beat the heat, and stay hydrated. That's how we have to deal with, or that's what we have to deal with in Texas.
That's right.
Um, we are by or you're familiar with my area, the valley.
Yeah, yeah,
We have where we're by the border and stuff, and we're by the coast. We're getting all that like rain coming through, some storms coming through, but
yeah.
all that kind of passed. We had like rain. We had like 100 degrees. Then we had rain. Then we had some more 100 degrees, and then we just had a thunderstorm yesterday. So you know how it
Yeah.
is.
Well, last week, I know last week it was pretty crazy. The weather was rather unpredictable.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of rain. We experienced a lot of rain, a lot of on and off rain. At one point, I think sometime Wednesday or Thursday, we had real hard showers for, I don't know, less than an hour. And then it just went away. And I mean, day was beautiful after that.
And it's so weird, but it's nice. Like we don't have to deal with
Yeah.
it too much. It's just like back and forth. It might rain one hour, be super sunny the next, and then it could be cold at night. You never know what happens.
Yeah. Yeah, it did be cold at night.
All right,
But
man. So for people that don't know, that this is Efren, however you want to say it, from North Texas. He's also known as Pure on Parole over on Instagram. He is part of the HVAC Visionaries, who I've already had Anwar and Adam. So I'm getting through the group as the
slowly
weeks
but
go
surely.
by. And yeah, if you would just want to introduce yourself a little bit, tell us where you're from or the area that you service, and then what part of the field are you in?
So I'm located here in Austin, and I'm 22 years old. Just turned 22, what, a month, 2 months ago, something like that. So I don't know. I don't keep track of the days. It's not that important for me. But yeah, I service all of the Austin metro area, and I've been doing HVAC for 2 years. So it's been an awesome 2 years. Um, I want to say 2 years and maybe about a month. So not too long in the HVAC field, but I don't think that time equals your experience. So I've been doing really good, and in comparison to my peers, my fellow HVAC visionaries, I'm up
Hmm.
to par, barely up to par with them. They're killers in their own right, you know.
Yeah, you guys are killing it. To be honest, each one of you has great work, and you take pride in it. And I think that's the most important part. It's like nobody starts being the best or at the top. You get into this trade, and it's all a learning experience. You're going to learn, hopefully, from somebody that shows you at least some stuff,
Hmm.
and shows you the right way. And then from there, it's all about you. You got to do your research, your learning maybe off the job, and just take pride in it because you're gonna get better as you go. That's what I always tell people. You got to be better day to day. So like, whatever you do today, be better about it the next call, the next day. Clean up this, clean up that. Just make it better every day. So, you guys are killing it. You said you're 22?
Yep. Yes, sir. 22,
Hey,
22 years old.
22. I had Anwar. I think he just turned 24. All
Mm-hmm.
you guys are under 25, I believe.
That's correct.
And man, it's some guys, like even myself, it took me a while to actually take this kind of serious.
Yeah.
And that's because like my dad has this business, right? He doesn't do HVAC or anything, but we kind of partnered into this and I got into the HVAC trade. And I was just trying to get a check and go home and hang out with my friends and do other stuff. I
Yeah.
wasn't too invested in it as I should have been.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I had done it sooner, but once that kind of clicked for me, then it was like great. I started enjoying my time at work. I enjoyed getting better, being better about learning more after work and stuff like that. So the fact that you guys are already getting that at a younger age, the sky's the limit because then you start in a better position even younger. So
Yeah.
that's great.
I think you said it best, man. Just about a minute ago, you were talking about how to really elevate yourself, and it's the process to get there is rather easy. It's super simple, super straightforward. It's being committed to it is the difficult part. So
Yeah.
that's what everybody has the most difficult part with. I'm human just as much as you are, just as much as everyone else on this planet, and that consistency is what really kills. So. I've been lucky enough to be surrounded around great people. I love what I do. So, HVAC shop talk, we're all
So
old.
yeah, we are. I've been telling people, I'm like, I don't know how old I look. I don't know how old you think I am because sometimes I get looked at and I'm like, they act like I don't know anything or I'm a rookie or I don't know what to call it. And I'm like, no, I've been in this 16 years. Like, let me do what I do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm old. I'm 36 or I'm gonna be 36. And I just noticed everybody in the chat is like, my kid is 15. I have a son that's 20. I have a son that's 21, 26. All the everybody's already with kids that are in the 20s. So like, all of us older guys are we've been in the field for a while, and I, for one, advocate to help out the younger generation. Now, that's why the whole HVAC visionary thing is great. You guys that are, even though you guys are young yourselves, I think that's an important thing that they see it from younger people. They see like you guys are taking pride, that you guys are kind of making sure that it's in a good light and being brought to the light so that more people can see it because everybody now is on Instagram, TikTok, all
Yeah.
this short form content. Even myself, I feel like we all have like ADD or something. Like
Oh,
uh,
dude. Yeah.
I'm scrolling through my feed for Instagram and TikTok too, and it's like, oh, if you can show me like a little tip with an under a minute, I'll watch it and then I'll learn something from that little TikTok or Instagram video. And that's where you guys come in too, because you guys are doing the Instagram and TikTok. You guys are doing the tech tip Tuesday, the meme Mondays, all that stuff. You guys are posting like basically every day. So all that's good for the younger people.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. I think you hit it right on the nail with this one as well, where um, we're starting to realize that we're in a generation where a lot of our information is gathered through either social media or through the internet in some form or fashion. And I, like most other people, tend to not have a high attention span. So
It
getting
happens.
something getting something that's quick, easy, and it's typically the easy tips that don't take a whole lot of time that really improve the outcome of whatever you're doing. So yeah, so kind of just delivering that message in a short format has assisted our growth and retains a lot of attention. I think a lot of people have really liked the stuff that we've been putting out, and Adam's been killing it with the meme Mondays. I don't know how I can compete. I think the closest thing I got was the Klein Toolbox. I put out a Klein Toolbox meme.
Oh,
I've invested thousands of dollars into Milwaukee Packout, and then Klein comes out with their mod box, and I'm like, dude, really? Like now of all times? So
Yeah, I feel the same way. I'm a little invested in the Milwaukee Packouts already. I'm not going back.
yeah, yeah, that's how I feel. So yeah,
But
just in general, that's how we feel is we've understood the basic concepts of people in all age groups, just kind of investing themselves into short format entertainment, and let's just add a little bit of education into it.
that's a good way to go about it. Like I have my favorites if I actually want to sit down and learn something. On like on YouTube is mostly where I go for like real actual like class type videos. Right, you're gonna go to see Craig from AC Service Tech,
Yeah,
Brian Orr with HVAC School. One of my personal favorites is Ty Brenneman
yeah,
on YouTube, and now he does TikTok and Instagram too. So those guys are really good, like teachers. Like they actually teach this stuff. They have great resources. Like Craig's really good in front of the camera, showing everything and having the cutaways, explaining it to a T, right? And then
hmm,
Brian Orr just started doing those really cool visuals and stuff.
yeah,
And then
that
Ty,
animated.
yeah, and then Ty Brenneman is just he's such in a good mood all the time and like smiling and laughing, and it's like that's contagious. So I love watching all of them, but
Yeah.
that's when I do that when I have time to sit down and watch that. A
Hmm.
lot of times nowadays you're just trying to get you're trying to get on Instagram or TikTok and just kind of scroll through it. Even YouTube is doing the HVAC shorts now, so
Yeah.
short form content is really good for people that are on the go.
Hmm.
A lot of the younger people are into it. I started my Instagram, I did my YouTube, now I'm trying to do TikTok too. So um like you said, the tips are great, but every now and then we need a laugh. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
good to see you guys mixing it up there.
Yeah. Um, I think looping back around to Craig and AC Service Tech on YouTube and HVAC School, those two have been the absolute. So I guess the whole idea behind HVAC Visionaries, to just kind of started right there, is
Hmm.
we're not here to be your teachers. We're not, I mean, we just started our career, so we don't know
Yeah.
anything. We're not trying to replace these legends who have spent thousands, if
uh Efren. Oh,
so. Um,
I can't
can you
hear
hear
you,
me?
man. Okay, now I
Okay,
can.
hold on. I'm
I
getting
can
my
hear you
phone
now.
bombarded. Okay, so where was I? Oh yeah, so we're not here to replace these teachers. They have propelled all five of us to the level that we're at right now,
Hmm.
and we purely want to showcase where you can get with just a little bit of effort. I've learned all my stuff through HVAC school. I religiously read that and watch all the videos
Hmm.
and read all the articles, and I think a large portion of my successes have been attributed to content like that. So we don't want to replace that. We want to find our little niche, and we're going to stick right there.
And it's good to see. Like I love seeing that because there's you guys. I feel like a lot of people this year have been either getting into content creation, whether that's YouTube or Instagram, um, just showing it. Like it doesn't have to be. And I always tell people that ask me about it, you don't have to know a lot. Like I don't know a lot. I don't.
Hmm.
I would never want to like actually teach or tell people how to do stuff or whatever. But people might want to see how you do it, or seeing how it's done in the field versus in the class or stuff like that. So I always tell people just post if you guys are interested in posting some videos and photos. Go for it. It only gives us more resources. So like yourself, like myself, I've like I said, I don't know anything. And my the way I always summarize everything is like if I can do it, you can do it, right? So
Yeah.
it's uh it's a skill that you learn. It's not the hardest thing in the world, but it does take, like I said, pride. It does take hard work, an effort, just to make it in this business. So Um, you guys bring something unique. I think everybody does. So if you guys are interested in content creation, just go for it. We can never have too many YouTubers, Instagrammers, whatever you want to call them. And I've been seeing a lot more this year, so I'm very excited for it. I love seeing it. So I hope you guys,
Yeah.
continue it and push forward and all that. Because I don't know, I get burnt out a little bit from doing it every now and then. I'm like,
Hmm.
oh man, I gotta like, I don't know if I want to do a video this week, but I feel like the younger guys might be more up for it, more energy of the Red Bull and all the Ghost that you guys drink.
Yeah, well, speaking of which, I got the Red Bull right here. I
Yeah,
gotta
I think I saw
pour it out for
Adam.
y'all.
Adam's in here. Let's go.
What's up, Adam? So yeah, I think there's definitely something to be said about our youth and the advantages that come with our youth. But at the same time, and in the same breath, this, as new as we are, this has been overwhelming, and so we are incredibly grateful for all the successes and all the love that we've gotten from people like you and other mentors out there in the HVAC world, and keeping up and constantly readjusting our content to suit a broader audience is kind of what we're seeking, and it's goalpost that constantly moves. So it's awesome, and we look forward to continuing to put out good content for you guys to enjoy.
Yeah, so go like I said, if you guys are just coming in, POP on his screen is for Pure on Parole. If you want to go look him up, or HVAC Visionaries, he's part of that group too. So at work, you said you've been in 2 years. So what do you primarily do? Is it residential or commercial?
Yeah, I'm a residential rat. I'm gonna steal that line from GHVAC, and I love my residential customers. When we start getting into light commercial, I start really not liking it so much. I kind of like that customer interaction. Um,
Okay.
so that's what gets me interested. It's a battlefield that's constantly changing.
Hmm.
Having to understand and communicate with different walks of life. Um, so I take great interest in that. Um, I do service, installs, sales, maintenance, you name it, I've done it. The only
Okay.
thing I don't do is own my own company. So at some point, I think I'd like to do it. It's it's something that I'm conflicted about, but as of right
Hmm.
now, I'm in a position where I can do just about anything I want within reason, and I'm enjoying where I'm at.
Yeah, I think everybody's situation is different. So like, if you're at a company that you enjoy, and I tell this to people because, like I was telling you earlier, I got to get through some messages, and I get people that ask me all the time, like about being in the trade. Um, what kind of companies should they be working for? What should they get into, or should they run their own business? But everybody's situation is different. If you're
Hmm.
happy at a company and they treat you well and they pay you well, like, get all the experience you can. Because, like, starting your own business is not a walk in the park when you start. You're going to need to soak in as much as you can while you're at whatever company you're at, kind of like observe, while you're there, how they handle customers, how they handle different situations. Just watch how they move and then learn good habits. And if you need to, you can ask how the business side works, but do as much as you can for that company, learn as much as you can, soak everything in. And then later on, you'll figure out if you want to open up a company and whatnot. So I had
Yeah.
Anwar on the other week, and he's already running his own thing, and at that age, I mean, hats off to him. That's a great
Yeah.
thing for him, and I'm happy for him. So it's possible. Everybody in this trade has something that they can accomplish, whether it's owning a business or being somewhere and just being really well paid with benefits, all that stuff. It's a great business to be in, and I think there's a place for everything or everyone.
Yeah. I agree. I agree
So
100%. I think.
So you do everything. You said service, install. Do you have a preference?
Lately I've been digging into a lot of service and sales, and I've been enjoying that. But it's really, really hard to beat that feeling where you start in the morning, rip out an old piece of equipment and set a new piece of equipment and just leave that thing immaculate. So that's just a really hard feeling to just drop and let go completely. It's it's what I would probably call, Jeff J. Deming, my equipment because it's just a rewarding feeling to see that thing.
Yeah, and I've seen it like when I first saw your profile back a while back. You didn't have a lot on there, but like since then, I've seen
No.
some of your work, and it's great. And I think we all kind of I get jealous of guys that do install. Jeff, Michael Flynn, all those guys that take their time and really work on all the little aspects, every little detail. They want to make sure that thing is perfect.
Hmm.
I get jealous of that. I wish I could do that. I love seeing it. I'm a service guy myself. I love the field that I'm in, or the part of the field that I'm in, kitchen refrigeration. So, I love service. I love watching all of you guys, do your installs and kind of seeing like what it could look like, or all the details that you put into it. And that's great. So, yeah, I always ask guys like, do they prefer residential, commercial, install, service? And I get like tons of different answers. So, there's a
Yeah.
little bit of everything in this trade. Like you said, you like the customer interactions. I've talked to Adam, who, thank you for the super chat, man. Appreciate that. Um,
Oh,
so I've talked to guys like you and him that love that interaction, and that's kind of what you feed off of, and then the rewarding feeling of getting some families like AC going when it was a hot day, or whatever.
yeah,
And then there's guys like me. I like a little bit of both, but guys like me who can be on a rooftop all alone, have a
yeah,
clear mind to focus on the task at hand, and I love that. Sometimes I'll pop in some AirPods or whatever, and
yeah.
that's my preference. But like when I deal with customers, I do a little bit of it because I do restaurants and stuff. So I have to go down and talk to cooks and stuff when I'm working in the kitchen. So I get a little bit of both, but I do love being alone on a roof, being able to think and kind of do my own thing. So
Well,
anybody
generally
listening,
speaking,
yeah,
go
anybody
ahead.
listening, there's stuff for introverts and extroverts, like whatever your
Yeah,
personality is, just go into a certain side of the trade and you'll get that.
yeah, yeah. I think most companies, if not business owners, are looking for people who are just hungry. Right now, and what I'm experiencing is there's not a whole lot of volume for technicians, and I think that's part of the reason why we started Visionaries. And I think that a lot of business owners and companies are seeking just individuals. I mean, just today um, was the second week for two individuals that started at our company. One of them was a female that came from the food service industry, and another one was a young male. And so we're getting ready to hit into the summer season, and so we'll see how they hang. But so far, this female who just started with us, it's awesome because she's been in the food service industry. She's got a lot of pep in her step, and so that's something that can't be replaced. Usually, something
Hmm.
that can't be taught. And so I think that the sky's the limit when it comes to an individual who operates at that level.
And I think that's a really important thing, is your I don't know, the energy you bring to the company, the personality, or outlook you have on the actual work. Like if you come to work and you're just down all the time and you don't want to be there, that's a negative effect on everybody.
Mhm.
And a company really values people that are hungry. They might not be perfect, they might not know everything, or they might be new to the trade, but if you're willing to learn, if you're willing to hustle, get out there and just get the work done however you can, or um, if you're a helper, or riding along with somebody, if you're in there, getting your hands dirty, help, like actually helping and not just standing around. That's always a good thing. That's always what companies want. That's what that's what helps you excel in this business, is being hungry, taking pride, and doing like all these little things. Like I said, if you're a helper, apprentice, anything like that, just get in there. Offer to do some of the work. Um, Ask a lot of questions. Just be
Oh
hungry
yeah.
all the time.
Yeah, that's what I did. I annoyed my my seniors who taught me when I first started. I annoyed them with a lot of questions, but every day there was a dramatic growth in me retaining the information that they're teaching me. And so very quickly they started to get used to it, and they very quickly appreciated me asking questions because then I was able to learn and operate at a similar level to where they were operating at, or at least
Hmm.
alleviate some of that stress. And so whenever it came to an install, um, you know, at one point I was rather useless when I first started,
Hmm.
other than being a gopher, just getting tools, getting getting pieces. You got to
Hey,
start somewhere,
that's helpful. That's helpful. I hate going to the van.
Yeah, well, it's like the moment that you stop working. Hold on, sorry, side quest right there. But the moment that you stop working, is the moment that the job gets paused completely. And so having someone to go there while you're still working keeps
Yeah.
progress going. And so, although at initially it seems like it's pretty useless being a gopher, you're learning these parts. You're learning what they do. You're learning what a 90 is, or what a straight elbow is, or what a T is, or P-trap or things like that. And I'm sure in the commercial realm it's a little bit different, but all the same parts. And so there's benefit to that. At some point, you start to add value to yourself when you start being capable of already knowing and understanding what the next step of that process may be. So when it comes to an install, you know, different people do installs differently. Once the indoor is done, let's go tackle the outdoor. What do we need for the outdoor? We need extension cords, we need copper, we need insulation. So things like that. When you can start being a forward thinker, and already anticipating the next move, oh my gosh, I love you. I love you if you do that. Please do that. Keep doing it because you're gonna go far.
Yeah. Like I've had guys work with me, and it's. I always expect them not to know or not to be super helpful. That's just the way I am. But
Hmm.
once they click and they are actually like bringing me, like you said, bringing stuff that we need for our recovery or vacuum, whatever it is that we're doing next, they're already getting it. That's great. I don't have to worry about it. Let them bring everything. If they can hook it up, even better. If they can put it
Hmm.
together, just help you. Because like when you're doing an install or a change out, there's a lot of different things that you have to tackle and do to get that unit up and going. So you're always trying to get to the next step. Not necessarily rush or get in and out, but you just want to get
Hmm.
through it so that you can keep, like you said, keep the progress going, and get that done in a timely manner. And then, once you, like you said, you ask a lot of questions. Personally, I'm trying to answer questions all the time when I'm at work, but if I'm tired, frustrated, I might tell whoever I'm with, give me a minute, or
Hmm.
I'll explain after. Let's just try and get this going. It's 100 degrees outside. Let's get out of the sun first, and then I'll tell you exactly what I did. But
Yeah.
yeah, like when you can ask questions and get those answers, I always tell people, kind of, ask questions so that you know what they're doing and why they did that repair, or why they did it this way or that way. And then once you get up there, I think that's when you bring a lot of value to work. And I get people asking me about pay and different things like that. If you want to earn a pay raise or a good amount of money, they value a lot if they can actually send you out and do these things on your own. Because like
Hmm.
when you're an apprentice and you're riding along, they're trying to train you, and I don't want to say it's an inconvenience, but they're trying to train you, but they really want you out there on your own doing these things. That way more work gets done. I mean, that's the whole purpose of hiring people. So
Yeah.
ask questions, try and get a general grasp of how to do things. And then like once you can get out there and troubleshoot or even do some repairs, and you know how to do that kind of stuff, that's when you bring value to your company. That's when you'll get that pay raise, make good money, all that stuff. So I don't know how it is in up north Texas because I have people asking me around here, and I'm like, around here, it's really cheap down here. It's really a low cost of living. So you're gonna start at the bottom as far as pay if you don't have any experience, but you can
Yeah.
work your way up relatively quickly if you show your boss or your company that you're worth, getting your own van, getting your own calls, and that's when that all that kicks in.
I know a lot of people are generally worried about pay, and that's usually the first thing that comes up in conversation, no matter who you're talking to. Pay,
Yeah.
pay, pay, pay. And although it's nice to get paid well and to be in a position where you can live comfortably or freely, um, to get there, what has helped me is stop thinking about the pay. Stop thinking about the pay. That should be the last thing on your mind. Put yourself in the position of an employer, and how do I make more money as an employer? Well, I get more jobs done or I have higher tickets. Well, how does that get done? Well, I need individuals who are capable of providing value to my customers and bring in revenue. And so when you start breaking it down like that, then you can start realizing, look, the only way that I can make money is by making the company money. So
Yeah.
let me focus on my skills. Let me focus on providing the most amount of value, most amount of intelligence and profit to the company and to my customers. It has to be mutual gain, and very quickly your paychecks are going to start following with some pretty nice numbers. And I know for you youngins out there, I know because I'm still in this position right
Hmm.
now, is I'm hungry, probably a little too hungry, and I get impatient. I get distraught very quickly, and it's something that I have to keep learning and keep understanding and telling myself. Um, it takes time and it's hard, but you just need to stick with it. And the more that you stick with it, the more that you just put your head down and keep going, keep learning, keep wanting to do more and provide more value to your customers and to the business. You're going to get to a position that you really, really like.
Yeah, and like I brought it up because I have like I said, a few messages that I haven't gotten back to that I need to answer later tonight, but they were about pay, and I'm like, you I mean, you're not going to start making a lot of money at the beginning. You have to earn that, just like with anything. And you're going to if you're at a company that is, treating you well and training you and you're learning, you're going to have to deal with it for a year, 2 years, whatever it is. And then I mean, eventually you should get bumped up, but basically I wouldn't trade a good company to go chase for more money at the beginning,
Hmm.
especially because they're good companies are hard to find as well.
Yeah.
So if you're looking around, you can interview the companies too. See how they are. Maybe talk to some of the workers there, if you know anybody there. But everybody starts at the bottom, and then you get your experience. If you feel like you're experienced enough or you're underpaid, it's fine. After you have a year, 2 years, whatever you feel comfortable with, go and see what other opportunities are out there. The only bad thing is like where I'm at. I think you would basically have to move to get a better rate pay because I have people that are watching. I think one of them's in here, Tomas. They're from my area. They're from the valley down here, and they're always asking, about the how much do I get paid when I start or this and that, or how can you get more pay? And I'm like, every company's different. You can go and look around, but honestly, you probably have to go somewhere. But you're gonna end up paying more for cost of living. I think that's the thing here. Our cost of
Yeah.
living is super low. That's something you have to take into account too. And if you do get a company and you want to stay there, like you said, bring more value to your company, to yourself. The company will pay whatever they think you're worth, but they have to have that money coming in. Those customers, those customers have to be really happy. Customer service is also a thing that maybe
Hmm.
techs don't think about, and you really have to be on that too because you're an extension of the owner of the company when you're out there with, especially residential. I have to deal with, or I guess I am the business owner now, but like when I started I had to deal with that too. Like I didn't want a manager mad at me or anything like that at a restaurant, because then like they'll just call somebody else. So customer service is also a good thing. Make sure treat everybody good, bring value to your company, and then good things will happen.
Yeah, get yourself to a position where your manager or your boss or your employer cannot say no to giving you a pay raise. That's what I've always done, and it's worked out for me. So I think that's pretty universal.
And I think like you guys, and I see a lot of it more now, and I think it's a good thing because or this exposure that this trade is getting now between HVAC Tactical, RLS is doing a good job on social media too. All these
Hmm.
companies are buying into being more on social media and stuff, and younger people are seeing that. And then you got guys like Jeff, Mike, Jamie, all these guys that do killer installs, killer work. If you get if you get your head on your shoulders right, um, at a younger age, you can get that all that sooner. Like I said, for me, I started around the same time you did. Like I was 20 when I got into it. I did start in the hot side first. I was, a helper. I did part change outs. I didn't know what I was doing, but I was doing them, or I was being told what to do, and I went to go do it. Um, so I started out there. It didn't click for me in 2 years or anything. It took me a good 5 6 years to realize, because I was one of those guys that had the crap flying around everywhere in the van. I didn't care where I put stuff. I
Yeah,
lost my tools all the time. Um, I wasn't into it like I am now, but there was also nobody to kind of show me how it should be done or anything like that. So,
yeah.
the quicker it clicks for you, being efficient, a clean van also goes a long way,
Oh
not
yeah.
wasting time looking for stuff. When we let some of our guys go, years ago, they had so many damn parts that were like lost behind the cabinets and shelves and stuff. I didn't have to buy parts for a couple months because they kept buying parts and losing them, and I was like, what the hell? So that goes a long way too. And you just never know who's gonna take a peek in your van. I don't know if you have that with residential. I feel like the customers might
No.
come out at random
Yeah.
times.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of instances where I've had a lot of compliments on the setup of my vehicle and the cleanliness of it. I even go to the lengths of either polishing the wheels, making sure that everything's nice and washed. I was gonna make a post just last week talking about, hey, here's your friendly reminder to go wash your vehicle, but it rained that day, so I didn't. So,
Yeah,
but
and
in all,
I think I saw it a lot with Tito vlogs when
yes.
he had videos of just him washing his van and stuff. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, I should do that too.
Yeah, man, Tito was when he was in the height of his YouTube channel doing HVAC stuff. Man, I would binge watch him.
Yeah.
I got to interact with him a while back, and it was pretty cool over FaceTime. But I want to loop back around to you and your past with HVAC. You said you mentioned you didn't have any mentor or anyone to hang around to kind of learn the ropes.
Hmm.
How'd you get yourself to a position where you're like, hey, this is kind of cool. I want to keep doing this.
Are you interviewing me now? I thought this was
I'm
my
just
show.
this is your show. This is your show. But I'm real curious because I don't think you've ever spoken about that.
There's been tidbits here and there. I kind of did want to bring it up. That's why I brought up. Like I said, I started when I was 20 because I finished high school and I didn't know what
Hmm.
I was gonna do. So I took a year off. And then when I was like 19 or so, I got back into college, and I was gonna do electrical engineering because like I said, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I've always
Yeah.
liked working on things, whether it's electronics. I used to fix phones and laptops on the side. That was my
Hmm.
side hustle. I made a lot of money doing that. Um, and then my dad basically up and started his business. And honestly, I had little interest in it.
Hmm.
He mostly did the hot side, so fryers, ovens, all that kind of stuff for restaurants and hospitals. I had, like I said, little to no interest in it, but I was proud of him. I thought it was great that he was starting his own business. Me being, the technical guy that I am, I was doing his logos, I was doing his business cards, I was doing a lot of this stuff that I liked to do, right? Computer stuff. Um, and then he's like, I really need a refrigeration guy because he didn't want competition when he was working.
Hmm.
So he does a lot of the hot side stuff, and then they would have to call like a refrigeration company or an AC company to go out. So he's like, I could use a refrigeration guy, an HVAC guy. My
Yeah.
school happened to have an HVAC program. So I basically majored in HVAC, pretty easy transition. And for me, it was really the school that got me into it. But unfortunately, I don't like, things change. I've heard from some guys that school is not, sometimes it wasn't a good experience, but I think that was during the pandemic. So, it could have been that. But we had a lot of hands on, we had a lot of stuff to do it like in the school. So it would be like a day of books and then a day of actual like check. We had walk-ins that we could check outside, walk-in coolers and freezers. They had split systems. They had us pump them down, recover the charge, put the charge in, all this stuff. Training boards, out in the training area and in the classroom. We had some stuff that they had on wheels that
Hmm.
we got to work on in there. So for me, it was the hands-on that was really cool. And then
I was
I
I was asking I was asking specifically talking about the moment that you entered the trade. You were already incorporated in the trade. You've been
yeah,
doing, maybe a little bit of refrigeration, and what got you to that next level where you're like where you're at now? What got you in between starting HVAC to where you're at now? Where was that click where you were like, oh, this is awesome. I like this.
like I said, my dad, or I was not the best efficient clean van, type of guy. My dad got on me about that stuff, right? He's very, you know, clean van, knows where everything is, does everything in a timely manner, and he himself learned that hot side on his own because he was offered a job and he was an electrician. He didn't even know the trade. So after I got into the trade and I had my ups and downs, the thing with me is I always had I always had this path that was already put in front of me. I had to get into the trade because he needed help on that side, and I needed my license. So I immediately went for that. I didn't have anybody that helped me, at least on the refrigeration side. So I got in. I had to do, you have to do experience for so many years before you can actually apply for your license and stuff. That guy was a
Yeah.
residential guy. He was a family friend. So I kind of got that experience, but I was on my own in the refrigeration side. And I don't know. The more I went out there and started interacting with the managers, kind of seeing what my dad deals with, I was like, I got to run this business at some point, or at least my half.
Hmm.
So, a lot of it I got from him. I just applied it to my side of it. So his work ethic, the way he did things, the way he handled himself, because he's the type of guy that can go in and be best friends as soon as he meets a person. So I rode along with him a lot in the beginning,
Hmm.
and then I got to see all those interactions. I got to see all that. It just took a while for me to actually like give into it and kind of for it to click. Um, and I'll be honest, like a lot of the mistakes that I did also helped me along the way, right?
Yeah.
There was stuff that I messed up even more than, when I got there. It was, it was down and I messed it up even more. And then I had to figure out how to fix it, which is why I always tell people, don't stress about it too much, right? If you go out there on your own and you're going to make a mistake here and there, don't sweat it because you can fix it. Everything is fixable. I mean, it might cost you something, you might get chewed out or whatever, but Burn a hole in that copper, you can patch it up. Burn out a board, you just have to get another one. It's whatever. Like you learn from your mistakes. I think for me, it was a mistake part. Like I said, I didn't have anybody to learn a lot from. We had a guy that would help us every now and then because we needed a contractor or to subcontract at the beginning. But I didn't learn a lot of good things from him. So, a lot of
Yeah.
this is firsthand experience, learning from my mistakes, and then like I said, it finally just clicked. Being able to or having like those oh shit moments, and then being able to like think on my feet and fix those.
Uh-huh.
I started getting like really into it after that. I'm like, okay, I can fix anything. I got confidence. My confidence was boosted being out there and dealing with all these ups and downs. So just took a while for it to click with me.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes it happens faster to others, you know?
Yeah, I was like I said, I just wanted to get in and out. A lot of the times, I was young, I was in college, all that stuff. So, um, but like I said, with me, I I probably got my license before I was 25 or 20, 25, 26. So that was always put in front of me where I had to get it right away. So I didn't get to go out and kind of have a luxury of working for a great company for like 5 to 8 years, whatever it may be that you need to get your experience from or to learn from a senior tech. And I don't know, like there's some guys in the chat that are talking about the valley and stuff. But I think everywhere there's not enough good techs, and sometimes it's hard to find somebody that you can count on to ask these questions. So
Yeah.
if you have a senior tech or somebody that you're riding along with at your company that's really good, learn as much as you can from them. Take advantage of that because I tried, and this was back in the day. I think more people now are good with sharing knowledge and stuff like that. It was a lot harder like 15 years ago to get that information. So take advantage of those guys that are willing to answer your questions. Take advantage of all these YouTubers that make the educational content. Take advantage of the people that you can DM over on Instagram or TikTok, whatever it may be, that will answer you. That's why I make it a point to answer as many comments and messages as I can because I didn't have that. So
Hmm.
even when I did call a few guys that my dad knew or whatever, they sometimes they weren't helpful. I'll be on the phone explaining my trouble, and then they're like, "Well, did you check this, and this?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, like the basics, yeah." I don't know what to tell you, and this and that. And so I was like, "Oh my man, like I was on my own a lot." So like I said, the mistakes piled up, and I learned.
Yeah, yeah, I have quite the lengthy story of my own mistakes, but I think that's what's important is mistakes are going to happen, failure will happen, and it sucks to suck, but you can't be fearful of it. And I think the more that I was fearful of it, the more I made mistakes, and the worse that they got. I think understanding that that's just the reality of the situation is that you are going to fail, but you can't be afraid of failure. It's what you get
Hmm.
out of it that makes you better. And I mean, we're at where we're at today because I didn't waste the opportunity of failure. I learned from every failure that I've had, and I've done things differently because of it. So just don't make the same mistake twice, and I think you're gonna be okay.
Yeah, definitely learn from your mistakes. If it becomes a habit, that's not good for you. You're not gonna have that job too long, but definitely learn from the mistakes, and like you won't know until you get out there and actually do these things. Like they taught me a lot of the stuff, recovering, vacuuming, all that in class, and pump downs and stuff. But in class, it's usually perfect, right? It's a perfect
Yeah,
scenario, and this and that. You get out in the field, you're like, what the hell? Like, I can't find power. I can't find a plug. I sometimes the ports are all screwed up, or I don't know. There's always an issue when you get on the field on the service side. So you're gonna make mistakes. There's no doubt about it. That's why I said if
yeah,
you have somebody you can talk to, take advantage of that. If not, just don't do the same mistake twice, learn from all that. Tons of resources. I had nothing. There was no YouTube, no Insta. Well, yeah, there was no Instagram back when I started, man. I'm old. So, 15, 16 years ago, none of that was there. And, now you can look up anything and there's tons of great guys out there.
Yeah, I would say that as well. Just take advantage of your resources, be resourceful, understand that just about anyone on the Instagram realm is an open book, myself included, and I'd love to answer all your questions. And not that I have all the answers in the world, but I know where to point you if I don't. So,
Oh, yeah.
um, yeah, I think generally speaking, a lot of people are willing to share just about everything that they know to help you and get you to a level of success.
Definitely. I appreciate Josh, HVAC Guide, for the super chat. Doing a great
HVAC
job.
guide. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
He's
Adrian's a great
big.
man.
He's what?
No, no, no. I said you're a great man.
Oh, me. Well, HVAC Guide has a huge channel on YouTube. Let me see.
I need to check out that
He does a
HVAC
lot of
guide.
like news stuff, like what's coming out, refrigerants, stuff like that. He's a residential guy, I think.
And you got to school me on these A2L refrigerants. I know
Well,
enough about them.
where is Brett's in the house too from Advanced Refrigeration Podcast.
Oh, what's up, dude?
If
Has
you
it been
need
a while?
to, if you need any information on refrigerants, he's pretty good at that.
Yeah,
I need to have him
yeah.
on the show soon.
Dude, have them on, man.
I
I'd
got a
love
I
to
got a
learn.
I got a list to go through, man.
All right. We'll go through that list together.
Well, yeah, eventually I need to have. I don't know if I can have all of you. I mean, if all of you want to come on from Visionaries at the same time, or a few of you, we can do something like that, a little group stream. And I just need to get the last two guys on here first,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then
yeah,
we'll
yeah.
talk about that. Whoa, Brian with the super chat. I think there is
Hmm.
hope for this younger generation. Definitely, with
Uh,
all the guys out there, like Efren was saying, ask anybody on Instagram and they'll point you in the right direction, or they'll tell you. I can ask a question. I would ask Chris Stevens. I've talked to Craig, um, Ty Brenneman, and they'll all answer me like right away. And they'll give me like, really good in-depth information on anything that I ask. And even back when I started my Instagram, I had 20, 10 or 10 followers, whatever it was. I asked these guys like Chris, and I got an answer right away. It doesn't matter who you are, though. They want to share their knowledge. So there's plenty of people out there like that.
yeah, yeah. It does us no good as an industry to retain information like the old heads used to. So,
No, man. And that's how it was. And that's kind of the mentality that I had also when I started, because it was happening like to me. People didn't want to share knowledge. They wanted, or everybody saw each other as like competition. So
mhm,
I would walk into a supply house and, you try to talk to somebody and they didn't want to have it. They didn't like, especially because there was a lot of old guys, they didn't like seeing the younger guys coming in and taking their job, so to speak, or whatever it is. But it's a
yeah.
lot better. It's a lot better now. I definitely encourage you guys, if you're in the field, if you're new in the field, if you're trying to run a business, network. So, make sure you know guys, not only online, but in your local area, because, everybody helps everybody. And it's a win-win situation if you do that. I talk to, plumbers, electricians. You can refer them. They can refer you. I have a buddy that does residential. Anybody that asks me for residential work, I hate doing it. So I will be like, here's my buddy's card. Call him, and he does the same thing to me because he doesn't like doing kitchen refrigeration. So then he'll send them my way, and it's a two-way street. The
Yeah,
more people you know in the trade, well, in your trade and other trades, it's a good thing. It's a good thing to network.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so I had a couple of questions. Let me get to the Instagram ones first.
Hit
Well,
'em, Adrian.
let me answer one. Now we're both in Texas, so it applies to us. But somebody asked me about the different levels of the HVAC license. It's different in every state, and there's some states that don't even require it, which is baffling to me. But in Texas, you if you're starting out, you basically need two things. Now, not everybody knows this because honestly, you can go work for somebody and never know anything about what
Hmm.
license, what's an EPA, all that kind of stuff. So you get yourself educated. You need to get an EPA license, and you need to get in Texas, you should be registered with the state. That doesn't mean
Hmm.
you're licensed, a contractor's license or anything like that. It just means that you can do HVAC work in the state of Texas. So those are the two levels or entry levels. And then from there, I think it's like 4 years experience, and then you can apply for the state contractor's license, which is the one that I have.
Hmm.
That's the one where you can work on your own, do whatever. But in Texas, you can work for a company that has a license, and then you're fine to work on this stuff. So it's different in every state. Like I said, some of them don't even require anything, which is weird. But um, every state's different.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have any? Well, you kind of touched on this earlier. Do you have aspirations to run a business someday and deal with all that?
That's a great question. I'm conflicted right now. At some point, I do want to own some sort of business, whether that be HVAC or otherwise. I think that that's where you start um, working for yourself. And although it's more 24/7 than anything else, it's yours, it's your baby, it's your love. So I'd rather work for myself. And I think doing HVAC would be awesome to an
Hmm.
extent. And it's really just the summers that I would dread. I can't imagine that no matter where you go, the summers are always going to be stressful, even more at a business owner's level. So, yeah, that's the only thing that I probably don't really want to deal with.
You don't like the 24/7 weekend calls? No.
It's no, it's nice. It's nice. It's nice when I get to have days off. But as a business owner, especially as a small business, I think that's intimidating and probably something that I wouldn't want to have to deal with the stress. Maybe I may change my opinion.
Yeah, it took me, like I said, 6 years or whatever to actually want to be a business owner. At those first few years, I was like, please, I'm just an employee, just pay me and I'll go home. I don't want to deal with all this business side stuff. But it's rewarding. It's your own, and like with anything, like starting a new job or starting a business, you start at the bottom.
Mhm.
So those first few years are going to be rough. There's going to be ups and downs, but once you get into a good flow and you know how it works and you know how to get work, you know how to keep that work, keep customers happy. Your work, mostly your work speaks for itself, and
Mhm.
reputation is king, right? If you do a good job, you're going to get work. So after those rough years, you get a little more free time. You can make your own schedule. The benefit I have is I can go to my kids' events, school events. I can do, vacation is a little bit hard in the summer because it's the busy season for everybody. But
Yeah.
I can take time off if I need to, doctor's appointments, stuff like that. That's the stuff that I value.
Mhm.
You know, you can make as much money as you want, and then you can also have free time. Now, you might not be working 24/7, or you might be working 24/7 when you start. I was up at weird hours of the night. We had a lot of um gas stations, IHOPs, stuff like that, where I would get called in the middle of the night or whatever it was. But then it gets easier, right? And then you start hiring people, and then you have a rotation, and it gets easier.
Hey,
But it's a
I
rough
heard
start when you.
I heard there's also something out there. Where is it? I think it's right up here. It's called Jobber, right? Jobber will help you do that.
Oh, Jobber helps with everything. So if
Yeah.
you guys need software that does everything for you and makes your life a whole lot easier, check out the link in the description. There's a little infomercial there.
There you go. You can't forget them, you know?
Hey, they've been really good to me, man. That's a sponsor of the channel. I love Jobber, and I actually use it because people ask me, they're like, "Do you actually use it?" I'm like, "Yeah, I don't just promote whatever. Like, we actually use it." That was one thing, man, that I hated as running the business, right? Like, you have to get these calls done. That's one thing, being out there in the field, all that, like that stuff has to get done. When you get home, there's the paperwork, there's the billing, and a lot of it before Jobber, we were doing it by hand. Could not read whatever the hell my guys were writing out. It would piss me off. I'd have to call them and figure it out. Um, they would get prices wrong sometimes. We prices change constantly, right? So I had to deal with all that and get all that printed out, typed up for some customers because I have a hospital that wants everything typed up. Now it's just like hit a few buttons, right? Print it out. The guys are on their keyboard. They don't have to worry about misspelling. The freaking autocorrect does everything for them. The prices I
Yeah.
can do them on my end on my phone, and they get the update on the price. So yeah, definitely running a business. There's like pet peeves that I had, but Jobber, has cleared up a lot of that. And just so you guys know, running a business like commercial wise, there's going to be like that 30-day net, that wait period when you get paid and stuff. So that's what I was saying. When you start, it's a rough few years getting all the money rolling in, the scheduling, all that kind of stuff. Building up your reputation. But after that, it once you get into a flow of it, the money's consistent. The hours are not so bad. Once you kind of figure that out. So yeah, I was just wondering if you ever had thought about that. Um,
Yeah.
I had to deal with that at a young age too, and that's why when Anwar told me about that, I was like, "Man, you're killing it. You're doing an incredible job because that's his."
Yeah.
Mine was with my dad, even though he doesn't do HVAC. I had to run that side of things, right? And he depends on me a lot for that, so I kind of had to deal with it at a young age, and it's a lot.
Yeah. I can't imagine.
Okay, so Jay from Instagram wants to know, how did you decide to get into the trade, or who was the one that motivated you to try it out?
So that is that's a bit of a happy accident getting into HVAC. I've always been kind of mechanically inclined, wanting
I feel
to.
I feel like everybody is always like, it's a happy accident. Like somebody somehow got me into it, and I loved it.
Well, that's the problem is like nobody
It
really
is,
considers
yeah,
HVAC, you know? So that's the void that we're trying to fill in HVAC Visionaries, where HVAC has always been cool, but we're just trying to,
yeah.
spread the word out there. But yeah, it's definitely a happy accident. I've always kind of been a little mechanically inclined. I love getting my hands dirty. If you were to ask me what do I want to do when I was a kid, I would have told you I want to do play in the dirt, get sweaty, and have fun. That's kind of what I do out in HVAC, and I get paid for it too, so that's kind of cool. Um, and so I was doing an apprenticeship on working on airplanes to be an A&P, airframe and power plant mechanic.
Okay.
That was awesome. Just the people that I got to meet and the aircraft I got to work on was just incredible. And then from that point forward, I think COVID had hit, and I wasn't making as much as I would like, and I still had to pay the bills, and
Hmm.
so I found myself in HVAC. I met in in the early stages of my HVAC career, I got to meet Ben from HVAC Tactical, just roaming around Austin, and I think I've always kind of had that same mindset that he's displayed with HVAC Tactical, and the moment that I saw it, I just ran with it, and so I haven't looked back ever since, and I've enjoyed it.
So okay, so you were mechanically inclined, and then you got into the trade, and instantly you just loved it. Working
Yeah,
on things.
pretty. It was. relatively instant.
Okay.
The one thing I hated was fiberglass. Just anything that had to deal with me
Oh
getting itchy.
man,
If I was to ever quit, it'd be because of fiberglass. So
that was one of the things that I learned really quick. Because like at the beginning, we were doing like whatever job we could, whatever came our way. You were like, yeah, we'll do it. We just want to work. Man, I dealt with a lot of fiberglass, a lot of duct, even in school because they had us do duct work, how to make it manually, all the cuts, all the 90s, everything. And
Dang.
then they tell you, yeah, you can get all this stuff prefabbed or go to a shop and they'll do it for you or cut it this way or whatever. And it's like, but they're like, I want you to learn this the hard way, right? We all felt the fiberglass. We all had to deal with that. And then that was another cool thing about my school was that they taught us everything like the hard way, like manually doing all the duct work, all the calculations, all this stuff. And even back then there was softwares and stuff coming out, for heat load calculations, all that they had. And they're like, well, you're not
Hmm.
going to learn it this way. You're going to learn it the hard way. You're going to learn it like this. And that was one thing that I liked. I had I guess it was like an install class or something, right? We did a lot of duct work, heat load calculations, all that kind of stuff. And I loved it. I didn't want to deal with it after the fact. That stuff is hard to get out, hard to get off.
Yeah.
And that's why I really like where I'm at right now. I get to pick and choose, and I
Yeah.
choose refrigeration over AC work.
Yeah, yeah. Subcode Trade Fox really needs to come out with. I mean, they have these invention tools. We got the Jumper King. We got so many other things out there. They need to come out with something to remove fiberglass from your skin that's already penetrated. Because, dude, I don't
That's
know.
a tough one.
hmm I don't know how they're gonna do it. I'm not that inventor type, but when something comes out like that, let me know because I'll be the first to buy.
Yeah, man. Long sleeves. I wear a lot of arm sleeves, like all that stuff. You learn really quick. I need to cover up. Um,
Yeah,
Whether it's from the sun. I used to come home like super sunburnt, and I
yeah,
had to learn really quickly to take care of myself.
yeah. It gets pretty bad. I can't imagine on
Let's
the
see.
rooftops. I don't do much on rooftops.
I'm gonna look at the comments real quick.
Let's see what the comments are saying.
They're talking about. Wait. Uh, Somebody said Service Titan was ramming their company. I'm not sure what that meant. I can't find it right now, but um, Jobber, because Jennifer and HVAC Guide were talking about Jobber. Jobber does
Hmm.
have some of the best pricing. If you guys are, oh yeah, here it is. If you guys are interested in that, I'm not sure if they're gonna keep the $9 um, subscription, but it's either gonna be $9 or $19 because I got an email from them recently. But even at $19, it's a steal. That's the one thing that people tell me a lot when they start their business. They're like, what kind of software? Because software is expensive, but Jobber has it. They drop the price a lot. So,
Yeah.
oh, Jen, you have a referral code too.
Ooh,
So Jennifer's sponsored by Jobber too.
drop it down.
So we were talking about social media, and I had a question from Brian. I think he's in the chat. Uh,
Okay.
what do you think is a major key to making content that gets views? Now, I know you guys are a collective group there. I feel like
Hmm.
Adam is that guy on TikTok. He gets a lot of views
Yeah.
over there. So I think we touched on it, right? Like it's a lot of like you got to get their
Yeah.
attention basically, and
Hmm.
everybody I feel like, especially in the HVAC trade, has like ADD. We
Yeah.
need quick information, and if not, we're gonna like scroll past it. So I don't know. Do you have any
Yeah.
tips for that for the content?
I think generally speaking, yes, attention has to deal with a lot of it. And your viewers or the amount of views that you get is going to reflect the quality of content that you put out. sometimes Instagram is real weird, and so you're gonna, get spikes on things that you never would have thought. So, and then
Oh,
other
tell me,
times,
tell me about it. I did a stupid one with like a cat and I don't know, it was like a pink bear, just like one of those meme things.
oh,
I
okay.
did I did a bunch of tech tips or something right before. They didn't do so well, and then that one just spiked like crazy.
Yeah, yeah. So that's something that Instagram is in my opinion, is kind of known for. Um, TikTok has been relatively predictable, but yeah, Instagram, you'll have random spikes. Generally speaking, when you create content, there's a couple rule of thumbs that you have to keep in mind. It's the retention, your viewer retention, um, the speed at which you're playing these videos or these cutbacks or photos. Syncing it up to music definitely helps, and then utilizing either program where you can edit your stuff, such as CapCut. That's what we use
Yeah,
is
that's a
CapCut.
good one.
But Instagram also likes for you to take advantage of their personal editing software. And for some reason, I don't understand how or why, but sometimes that stuff tends to do good. So I haven't figured out what the algorithm is, but you really have to play around with a myriad of different factors, and slowly but surely, you'll start kind of fine tuning a little bit.
Yeah, for anybody that's starting, um, like I have a channel that I started that I need to find time for. It's just hard to find time. I started a second channel that's geared towards helping content creators. I want to show like how I edit and how I do this kind of stuff because it's really not that hard. The hardest part is just actually posting, right?
Yeah,
So when I started, it was like towards the end of the pandemic. That whole area it was towards the end, and I just I felt like I had a lot of time. We were still working, but like after that, there was like nothing much to do after work. So
yeah,
I just went for it. I started posting. A lot of those videos were hard to rewatch. They're not great, and it's just about posting, about finding your style. Being You do have to be straight to the point if you're doing these short videos. Be straight to the point. Don't ramble. Don't BS. Just
yeah,
get what you need. Your point across, and everybody. I think everybody can provide value if they just show. If you're like in the HVAC trade, just show how you do something. Um, Not everybody does it the same way, and maybe you have a quicker way or more efficient way, and somebody will appreciate that, and all that stuff will come with time.
yeah, yeah. Just gotta play around with it. You'll never find out if you don't even start. So
Yeah, just do it. I know there's a few guys that are probably in the chat that have started YouTube channels, and I'm like, go for it.
yeah, yeah, run with it. There's never enough.
Yeah, we don't have enough content. We need. I mean, we need good information out there, good
Hmm.
educational videos. That's not what I'm trying to do, but we also need to actually see what it's like in the field, or even motivational stuff is great.
Hmm.
You know, you have hard days, you have tough days. You go on social media, you get a good laugh, or you get some good motivational stuff. It's all great. And that's what my TikTok. That's because I've been trying to figure out TikTok, and I
Yeah,
feel like TikTok is better to do the fun stuff, the funny
yeah,
stuff, the just really short form content, and that does well because people just on YouTube. It's funny because when I did my YouTube, or even like when I was watching Tito and Chris Stevens and all that,
hmm,
it's funny, right? You go to YouTube, you get out of work, you go on YouTube to watch work, but some
yeah,
people that's like they want to learn more, or that's just comforting to them. That's how
yeah,
I was during that whole pandemic. That's when I found uh, Tito's channel, Chris's channel, HVACR videos.
hmm,
And I think it was just because I missed work so much, right? Like we were working, but
yeah,
like I said, sometimes we had short days. Sometimes we had days off or whatever, and it wasn't as busy all the time. Like it would be busy one week and maybe not busy the other week, and I just kind of missed it, right? And I was watching, work. I was essentially watching work videos, but some people like that.
Yeah,
And it's when some
I was
people
one
get
of them.
on, yeah, when some people get on TikTok, they just want to see, they just want to laugh and they want to see funny stuff. So, know your audience and know where you're posting. Cause like for me, I can't post the same thing on all of them. Like different content does better on certain platforms.
Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah.
It's hard, man. This whole like content creator stuff, like
Yeah.
I did it and I was doing it because it was kind of easy. It was me just doing stuff at work but recording it, right? So it wasn't too hard to start, but having a video out every week or editing, like, you know, once you get really into editing, you want to make sure that it's like perfect, right? It has good cuts, good music, all that kind of stuff. It's like a
Hmm.
second job that you have
Yeah.
after work, and sometimes it takes up time. I sometimes I lose track of time when I'm doing this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I have my own war stories. When HVAC Visionaries first started kind of doing really good when we launched, it got enough traction to where my employer saw and they were like, "Hey, can you
uh
do this for our company?" And of course, me being naive, I'm gonna say, "Hell yeah, I can. That's cool." And so I did it for a little bit, and very quickly I was like, "Wow, no, this is too much." So
it's a lot. That's why there are like content creators that do this for a living. Like that's their job because it is a job, right? We're trying to
yeah,
do it. We're trying to do it as like a hobby or whatever, like because we have our main job to do. So
yeah,
it's a lot on. It's fun to do, and I encourage people to at least try it. But it does take up some time.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right,
Time it does.
Logan in here. A question for you: do you ever see Visionaries growing its members?
Oh, absolutely. That's an easy question. Yeah. At some point, I would love for HVAC visionaries to get to a point where we can incorporate many members. It'll be something that is nationwide. Right now, we're starting with five, and there's no reason why we need to go down. I think everyone can be a visionary. Um, I think it's something great. Very similar to what HVAC Tactical is it's of a mindset. HVAC Visionaries is similar in
Mm-hmm.
the way that we try to come across, where um, it's dependent on your success and how bad you want it. We want to be that role model that I personally didn't have when I first started, um, to kind of guide me into what is HVAC and is this something that I want to do long term. So yeah, to kind of wrap things in a nice, pretty bow, yeah, I would love to see HVAC Visionaries to be a nationwide thing with multiple different visionaries in each state.
That's a cool thing to build on. So there's a movement coming, so to speak.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and you mentioned Ben with HVAC Tactical. He's like blowing up right now, and he's doing great things.
Yeah.
Um, and I think he's gotten to do HVAC Tactical full time now, which is it's going to be great to see.
Yeah, yeah. I'd tell him that he's already hung up the tool belt. He's already retired from HVAC, so I just joke with him a little bit. But yeah, in all honesty, I think he's doing something that's quite noble, and I respect it. I think there's a bigger reason behind it. Someone even as big as oh, Mike Rowe. There you go, Mike Rowe. He's a huge inspiration of mine. I would always watch him on the Discovery Channel when I was a kid, and very similar to the way that Mike Rowe presents himself is the way that
Hmm.
I think Ben carries himself, and um, I like that.
He has us, dressing up, going to these award shows, walking the red carpet. He's doing big things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Tony Stark.
Ashton, attics are worse than rooftops. He's done both. I
Really?
I don't disagree. I won't do an attic. I'll do rooftops all day, every day. I will not get in an attic.
Adrian, have you ever been in an attic up north, like where it's not humid, where maybe it's hot but not humid?
No, not really.
I can complain. I think that the humidity here really kills. A hot and humid attic is way worse than just a hot and dry attic. So I think generally speaking, I'd rather be in an attic than on a rooftop because that sun gets me tired very quick.
Yeah, that's what people don't get either. Like I've mentioned. Um, Actually, I have a pre-recorded podcast that I need to get out at some point. But the heat wears you down if you're in the sun. So, like I said, I learned pretty quickly to cover myself up. So I wear like UV arm sleeves. A nice wide brim hat with a neck guard. Make sure I have some good sunglasses because I deal with a lot of white roofs. So
Oh,
all
yeah,
that stuff is important because it's gonna wear you out, get you tired, physically, but it's also gonna mess with you mentally because you're there to like at least for me service and repair something. And if that sun is beating down on you, you got to make sure that you're like hydrated and covered and taken care of because then you can't do your job if you can't think straight. So
yeah,
that sun is no joke. You got to make sure that you take care of yourself out there.
yeah, yeah. Sun's scary. Sun will kill me.
All right, I'm gonna look through the chat real quick.
Let's see. I'm gonna take a glance at it too.
Oh, I mentioned him earlier, but Brett is with the Advanced Refrigeration Podcast. If you guys want to go check his podcast out, he's he's like, if anybody's not busy, I need 10K more downloads to hit 200K. Those guys are killing it. I have like 1,000 plays right now.
Jeez.
Him and Gil, man, they have that podcast thing like down to a
Lockdown.
T. Yeah.
Yeah. Dang.
Oh,
What else you guys got? Comment section.
I think he bounced already, but Josh HVAC guide, I can't remember. I think he's from Texas also. He was asking, but I'm from South Texas, so that's McAllen. I think most people know McAllen. We're by the border, so I'm right next to Mexico. Efren
Yeah.
is from Austin,
Yes, sir. ATX.
so we got Texas in the
Valley
house.
of Texas.
Yeah, yeah. I always tell people, man, Texas is such a big state. It's like, or like I mentioned earlier about the weather, it's like different in every area, but
Yeah.
it's a huge state. I got a buddy that lives in Houston. He's been like, are you gonna come up anytime soon? I'm like, man, it's like what is it now? Like a 6 hour drive.
Oh, I don't
Uh,
know. I don't know from McAllen. I think from Austin to Houston we're like at 4 hours or something like that, 3 or 4
oh,
hours.
really?
I can't really remember. Yeah, something like that.
I think
Yeah.
they've been working on the highway coming down, so I think it's a little bit quicker than it used to be. Because like San Antonio used to be 4 hours for me to go up
Oh,
there, and now it's like 3.5 hours. So I mean, I'm not complaining. It's better than what it was. So
yeah.
we got a lot of
Just
construction
this
down here.
just this morning I drove down to San Antonio. It took me about 2 hours. Yeah, about 2 hours.
Yeah,
So,
that sounds about right. I used to go up. I had a buddy that used to live in Austin too. I used to go up there often.
dang.
And yeah, like my calls because I do commercial, so we service almost 2 hours each way because we're right in the middle. So yeah, I
Ooh.
got to go to the island sometimes. It's an hour and a half, hour 45 minutes. Then I got to go to the other way. I don't know if you know like Rio Grande City.
Hmm.
What's over there? Roma. We service all those, and we used to service Laredo.
Okay.
And we're in McAllen, the mission area, and now, like I tell people, there's a shortage of techs, and it's like it goes for everything. Like anybody in the trades, if you find another trade that you like, get into it as well. It's always good to be something with skilled trades. It's a skill. You learn it for life. You always have it with you.
Hmm.
Because my dad does the hot food side, and now he gets asked to go 4 hours out, 5 hours out, because there's not any good
Dang.
techs out there, and that equipment stays down for weeks, and they can't get anybody to fix it. He goes out there and he fixes it the same day, and then comes back or whatever, and it's in demand. So, you know,
Yeah.
hats off to him because he's doing that, and that's kind of like I said, where I got my work ethic mindset from, because he was always like, he wants to be the best at what he does.
Yeah. For those of you guys watching that are indecisive of which trade you guys want to join, I'm going to be partial here and say join HVAC. Be if you can't settle for the best, be the best. So,
the
or I don't know if that made sense.
the king of the trades, as we
There
say.
you go.
We do a
Yes, the
little bit
king of
of
the
everything.
trades.
You'll never get bored.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, you'll never get bored. That's the truth right there.
Oh, I think we had a Sparky in the chat earlier. I'm just seeing it. He's like, "Fuck HVAC. It's all about
Hey, haters.
electricity. It's all about electricity."
Haters gonna hate. Haters gonna hate. I don't blame you. Hey, but you're welcome to get on a ride along. I got ride-alongs available. You can join me if you like. I'm in Austin. Come check me out.
It's all
Actually,
good,
don't.
man.
Don't check me out because then you're gonna get hooked to HVAC.
I don't know. It's not for everybody, and it is hard work. But like, I don't know. It's just so like rewarding. Fixing this equipment, and that was another thing that I liked. Going back to what we were talking about earlier, like, when I got into the trade, some things maybe I was just bored at the beginning, or something like that. But like as I did more work, I started seeing like all these different types of equipment. I got challenged a lot. Um, sometimes I'm like, trying to figure out wiring. I've have units that I've never seen before, and they're kicking my ass, so to speak. And
Mm,
at the end of the day, you finally get it going. Best feeling in the world.
yeah, yeah,
So it's very rewarding, and then like the variety you get, especially on refrigeration. But it goes for anything in the HVAC trade. ACs, they're getting newer refrigerants, newer components. We're going a lot of electronics now, so you're going to see all that in every aspect of the trade. So it's
yeah.
always evolving. You're going to learn a lot of things. You're going to continue to learn things as you get older. It's just that's what also got me was, um, I get bored quickly and easily. So like being challenged and seeing all these different things, and working on different things every day is, one of the things that I like about this trade.
Hmm. Yeah. You don't have to be just isolated to working on it or installing it. I mean, there's everything that's involved with HVAC, such as logistics or management or HR. I mean, parts, there's so many different facets of it that you don't need to just be isolated with it. Working with OEMs, or manufacturers. So, I'm sure the list is endless, but those are just some of the few that I can think about right now. Um, you don't have to be the one fixing it or installing it. Those are the most common. That's what you think about when you talk about HVAC, but it doesn't mean you have to be there. And there's always something out there for everyone, that's around the realm of HVAC. So,
For sure. Let me see. Oh, Brett was saying he got to do an educational panel with Mike Rowe.
oh, dude, I'm gonna hit that up right now. I'm gonna hit that up. I'll send for micro.
Let me get through some of this. John, where you been? I took like a couple weeks off from the podcast, and everybody's like, "Where you been? Where you been?"
That's how you know we've been missing you.
I mean, I appreciate everybody that comes out. I didn't know what the hell I was doing when I started this, and look at us now.
Look at us now, like the meme.
Yeah. Oh, Logan had
Yeah.
another question. Uh,
Let's
what
see.
do you do to stay up with training? Most
Ooh.
guys just do part houses. Oh, like training, I
Hmm.
guess.
Yeah.
And most
Yeah.
of his experience is in sales class.
Yeah. That's something that's tricky because you have to make sure that whatever information you're ingesting is credible, and so cross-referencing that with all different sorts of resources is important. I get a lot of my training through HVAC school, a lot of informal training through HVAC school and Brian Orr's platform. I cross-reference that with a lot of the information that Craig and Refrigeration Mentor put out. And then every so often, whenever my supply house has just random trainings, whether it's on ductless equipment, I know there's a lot of stigma behind ductless equipment and people not really understanding it, but um, at a certain level, it's all the same thing. And I think just being familiar with it, it's something new. Um, so just over time, understanding that not everyone is going to have the exact same. There's no stone that Moses wrote on saying that this is HVAC and this is how you should understand it. So constantly cross-referencing it and keeping information in and out is important. That's what I do to keep up. Is I look at everybody.
Man, and we put in one of those like what are they called? Mini splits. Like 8 years ago. I don't know. It was a long ass time ago. It was probably like when they first came out. I didn't even know what the hell it was, but the customer wanted it. We put it
Yeah,
in and it helped. Now they're all the craze, right? Everybody's putting them in. They're super simple because
yeah,
you might need cooling somewhere, and it's an easy thing to add. Um,
yeah, yeah.
that's where it's at right now. That's what it's going to.
Adrian, I want you to quote me right now. Someone clip this. Mini splits, mini splits are the future. I think no matter how much I hate it or I like it, I think what's going to happen is there's the same way that we have central, like water and plumbing, like where the city controls plumbing. Why can't you do that with air conditioning? Why can't you have refrigerated lines, all throughout underground or in the city or power lines, So
Yeah.
as much as I hate it, I don't think that that's ideal, but I think that's what's going to happen. Is they're going to set a big old condensing unit somewhere that controls a whole neighborhood with a whole bunch of heads in every room.
Hey man, I'll take that. Give me more work. I'll do it. And more work for us. And that's like the thing, right? We do. It is important to do training. So
Hmm.
like I always took advantage of whatever was coming down, whether that's Manitowoc, Scotsman, because I do a lot of the refrigeration, ice machine stuff.
Hmm.
Made sure I went to all of those, signed up for those. If my supply house was doing anything, I always stopped by, signed up for anything. And then now, I mean, it's easier now, but back then I used to just read manuals. You can still do that. Take the
Oh
manual
yeah.
from a unit that you've maybe are not familiar with.
Hmm.
Um, it's easy to look up manuals now. You just want to go and read some stuff that you know that your company deals with or that you've seen. Yeah, Blue On.
Blue on.
Um, if only Blue On did commercial refrigeration, I could
Yeah.
advocate for them a little bit. But yeah, you can go online and read manuals. The easiest thing is, you're gonna install and service this equipment. You should know, how the manufacturer wants you to do all that stuff. And
Yeah.
then just going online, like you said, Brian Orr, Craig, I have a bunch of books behind me on the bottom shelf over there. Craig has a lot of good books, it's I feel like it's never good to have one resource, right? You like you said, you
Hmm.
want to cross reference, make sure you're getting the right information. So, have your different, however you want to take that in, whether it's these guys on YouTube, the books, the manuals, trainings that you have locally, all that stuff it's going to help, and it's going to go a long way with your understanding of equipment and how to install and service them, make sure they're running the way they should, running they're optimized, the way they should be running, efficient, all the good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I think cross-referencing is really important. Um, just as much as I'm imperfect, so are these people out there. They're just as much human as I am, and so making sure that you take every bit of information with a grain of salt, no matter how credible that they've been in the past. People mess up, and information and technology is constantly changing, and so they might put out a video, and the very next day, Emerson might contradict whatever they put out, or Copeland or whoever, a manufacturer. It doesn't matter who it may be. The point is constantly keep up to date, because if you don't keep up to date, you're going to get left behind.
Yeah, and that's super important now. I trust a lot of these guys that I watch and I've been watching, but um you never know, cuz even with people that you see online doing things, they might not they might not know themselves, or they might do it a certain way that's it looks like a tip, or it's better this way or better that way. Just double check things like that. And there was there's things like we deal with R290, and I'm starting to see it down here. And people on YouTube or whatever, they use a like a natural gas leak detector for that kind of stuff, because it's basically natural gas. It's like a
Hmm.
propane. And then I go on and I'm looking at the bulletins from like these manufacturers, and they're like, we advise against using those gas leak detectors. So I tend to go with what manufacturer wants. So I do things. I see things, and if it's something that I think it's worth looking into, I'll look into it. I'll research it. You got to do your part as well.
Yeah, just last week I put out a tech tip on HVAC Visionaries, and there's a couple people that commented, telling me that, hey, there's a better way of doing this. I think it was on a furnace check. Oh yeah, so oftentimes, or at least a lot of people that I know, what they'll do is they'll have their furnace running during a maintenance or just a furnace check, and they'll shut off that blower, or
Hmm.
shut off the power switch. And just in a quick summary, all that heat gets retained within the heat exchanger, and there's a couple things that tend to happen, and I won't go into them, but I typically shut off the gas valve, or not the gas valve, the main gas going into the equipment. And so I was corrected to do it a better way, where I should pull off the pressure switch, um, because that has multiple functions. Not only does that clear out that heat through the heat exchanger, but that
Hmm.
also tests my pressure switch. So I'm planning on either editing that video or making a revised version of that video, because that's superior information, and that's something that I was like, wow, oh, I mean, how come I didn't think of that? That's smart. So yeah.
That happens to everybody, because like with me too. Like, of course, if there's somebody just wanting to pick a fight, I ignore that. But if they have a point, or if they have a better
Mhm.
way of doing it, I love that. Go ahead and tell me. Um, Leave me a more efficient, better way, easier way to do it, and I'll
Mhm.
learn. I learn just as much, from reading through comments and going through messages and stuff like that, from other people. Even though I'm the one, posting the video or whatever, trying to show my work, somebody in the comments might know better. And um, I take that criticism as long as it's constructive. It's in a good manner, and it's not trying to pick a fight. I'll take that criticism and I'll learn
Mhm.
from it. So that's a good part also of doing the whole content stuff, is like there are people out there that, might not post themselves, or might not be doing
Yeah.
anything like us, but they know a thing or two. So they'll leave a comment, and it's usually helpful. I know guys like Ben Pohl will try to privately message people, because he's mentioned that before. He doesn't like to call them out. He'll message them and then ask them why they did it, or tell them, there's a better way to do that. So
Yeah. That's
as
a
long
great way.
as you're helping people, that's a good thing to be to be corrected in the comments. Don't take it as, or don't get defensive about it. They're probably trying to show you a different way or a different point, um,
Yeah.
that you can learn from.
Yeah, there's a million ways to skin a cat, and sometimes there's more efficient ways that you probably didn't think about. In this instance, I fell victim to it, and there's nothing wrong with that.
And that's one of the cool things. Like when I started, I was just posting, I just wanted to post my work, pictures. I wasn't really doing video at the beginning,
Hmm.
and then like that was the best part was learning from other people. Like, oh, I can do it quicker. I can do it this way, or even like recommended tools or how to lay out the van. Different ideas that we get from everybody, and then you
Hmm.
get to implement it, and then be better at work. It all
Yeah.
helps you basically be better at work.
Yeah, I received a comment, or not a comment, a DM on HVAC Visionaries, and it was talking about how we have our bag set up, asking if we can show how we have our bag set up, and the same person had asked us in return, why don't we do this or that, or carry this or that, and so our market is entirely different of whoever this individual may be.
Yeah.
There's certain things that we use or we need, depending on the company and the policies that we do or the piece of equipment that we work on. That's different than everyone else. So
Yeah, and
taking inspiration from other people.
I kind of make that disclaimer now. I'm like, this is like what's best for me. These are the tools that
Hmm.
I personally need. Everybody's tool bag is different. Everybody you'll learn as you go, like what you need and don't need. So everybody's that's why I do a lot of the tool videos, and those actually do really well for me on my channel. But I'm always like, hey, I do it this way. It's my way. If you want to take, something from it, take it. If not, cool. Um, because I just do service. I do more refrigeration than I do, actual AC work. So everybody's going to be different. And I actually had a question on that because somebody was like, how do you load out your, well, he was talking to me, the TP double XL, but what bag do you like to run on like your daily calls?
Ooh, I've been switching a bunch of tools out and a bunch of bags out. So, I think right now the way that my bag is set up is I got my field piece multimeter. I got my wire strippers. I got a Klein 11 in 1, a magnetic 11 in 1, and a Klein magnetic socket driver.
Yeah.
I got those two. I got lineman pliers, um, uh, PVC cutters, a couple of random bits, um, um, a permanent marker, and then there's probably like one or two things that I'm probably missing from there. Electrical tape and um, yeah, and then I have a separate bag with my hose lifts and digital gauges. Um,
Oh, okay.
And so yeah, so I have that as a separate bag. And so this primary bag where I have my hand tools, it's put in a Vito TP3. Yeah, TP3, TP3B.
Yeah, we have those for the guys, the open tool pouch.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I think we have the 4B, I believe. We got a few of those for the
yeah.
guys, and my dad liked it too, so he got one. Um, yeah, I think a lot of us now would like to go light
Hmm.
because I used to have a backpack with everything in it, and
Hmm.
I was like, man, I need to save my back, so I got my
Yeah.
own little daily bag now. I'm using the double XL
Hmm.
and trying not to put as much stuff as it can hold. Like I don't want to max it out.
Yeah.
It's very hard. You want to stuff as much as you can in there, but it's
Yeah.
always better to go light. I mean, if you're doing service work, you already know what you need to do. It's usually like
Hmm.
wire repair, little things here and there. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
Most of
yeah,
the
I just wanted
stuff.
to know like what you
Yeah.
had
Most of the stuff.
as far as that. What
Yeah.
was that?
No, I was just going to say that most of the stuff that I have in my bag, that I have loaded out right now, I can handle most things. Oftentimes, I have to make a couple runs back anyway, if it's a part that I need or something that's gone broken, or I need to get my Jumper King or whatever, you know?
Oh, the Jumper King. Everybody's the hot commodity right now.
Dude, it's all the rave, man, you know?
Yeah, they either love it or they hate it. I know Adam's been a real big advocate for it lately.
Yeah, Adam's doing real good. I love the non-peasant tool. I don't want to be a peasant, so I got one.
Yeah, I got one too. I have it to where I can clip it onto the bag if I need it. So usually I will think about like, do I need it? Or like if I'm doing maintenance, I might take it up. So try to
Yeah.
have I have my bag set up, for to do most repairs out of it. And then I do have the field piece probes, and I kind of just shove them in there, if I need them.
Hmm.
Um, and then I just clip that if I need the jumper king on the side. And that double XL is really nice though. I think Jeff Raspberry was the one that asked me about it. The
Hmm.
TP double XL is really nice. A new blackout, super
Yeah.
modular. You got all those V swap panels that you can interchange. So I'm really loving that bag right now.
Yeah. Let me ask you, do you, there was, and I'm not sure what I believe right now, but there was a moment in social media, probably about maybe a month or 2 months back, where a bunch of people, very credible people, were talking about not to hose or gauge up on every piece of equipment that you walk onto if it's offline. And I understand where they're coming from, but I want to hear from your opinion. What do you think about that?
I was on the side of not hooking up gauges until the last. That's your last check. So of course you want to see if the unit's running and all that. You want to check your electrical. I was always taught in my school that 85% of it's going to be electrical. Like more than half of it is electrical. So
Yeah.
check that. And then like, you deal with ACs. I deal with ice machines. Water could also be an issue. So you want to do all those checks first. And that's what I'm going to tell people. Gauging up is going to be your last thing. Unless you're suspicious of a leak, you feel like you have to check it, do so. Like if you can kind of tell that the unit's flat or something, but it's a thing because probes are still relatively new. So if
Hmm.
you're going to be checking, just if you just want to check pressures, do it with a probe. Because when you hook up a whole manifold, the hoses and everything, you're going to lose a lot of charge. And
Yeah.
then like you don't know how often that thing has been hooked up to or anything. You're going to be, losing refrigerant every time you hook up. So that's how I was taught and told, that's your last check, and you're going to be losing refrigerant. So that's where I think the probes have come in clutch. I'm not as hesitant to check if I need to, because the probes you hardly lose anything. And then
Yeah.
if you guys do get the probes, there's a little, I think it's called like a thumb screw coupler or something. I forgot what it's called, but it's the one that you hook up to you have it on your probe, and then you hook up to the line set, and it doesn't depress anything until you screw in the end.
Oh
Um,
wow.
that way, I use it on my high side. I don't really worry too much about the low side, especially if it's running. The pressures are so low anyway. But on the
Hmm.
high side, you lose a lot. So on that side, I used to use the ball valve adapters to close it off and then take it off. But you would still get, depending on how the Schrader is, sometimes they get depressed really easy. So as you're
Hmm.
unscrewing it, the longer you take, the more refrigerant you lose.
Yeah.
Also, wearing gloves, all that stuff, you get refrigerant burn, things like that. So I was always looking into different like, and then I had the little quick connects that you would get to put on your hose. The low loss fitting.
Hmm.
A lot of them would bust on me, so then I didn't trust
Yeah.
those either. So this little thumb screw one, it's really cool because you put it on, it's not depressed until you screw in the end, and you can do that after it's already on. So I do understand understand that part, because if you're using a manifold with hoses, you're gonna lose a lot. Also, if you're hooking up with a manifold and you have those ball valve adapters or whatever you can to close it off, any low loss fitting, take off your high side first. And if it's a ball valve, close it off. Or if it's a low loss, nothing will come out. And then empty out the hoses back into the suction side with your suction side still hooked up. That
Hmm.
way, anything you took out of the system, you put back as best as you can. So I've always been conscious about that kind of stuff. I don't like losing any refrigerant whatsoever. So
Yeah,
if you use manifolds, use them correctly. Try to put the refrigerant back in the system, or go with probes. I think
yeah,
everybody's getting on that train already.
yeah. I think there's nothing that you can't do with. Hold on. There's nothing that probes can't do that a manifold can't or
Yeah, and
can.
I
I
actually
don't know.
had a comment because I posted one about the analog versus digital, a little meme
Yeah.
thing, and then someone was like, "I hate probes and this and that," and he's like, "Do you carry both with you if you need to add refrigerant, or how do you do it?" I'm like, "No, I can do it with the probes too. Just take an extra hose, and then it's what you call a charging tee. It's basically just a little coupler that attaches to the system, has
Mhm.
two outlets, one for your hose and one for your probe, and you can check pressure and add refrigerant."
Yeah.
I've seen some people post about it. Did you guys post anything about that?
Yeah, Adam posted a pretty good video, pretty detailed video talking about
How
how he
to
charges a
charge?
non-present way. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I was like, I know I had recently seen it somewhere. So there's guys out there that don't know all that stuff, which
Mhm.
is why, like I said, it's a good thing that people are posting, like you guys, or whatever. Like to me, sometimes I'll see people post, things like Adam with the charging, the probe charging, and I
Yeah.
feel like if I were to think of that, I'm like, oh, that's kind of dumb. I feel like everybody knows that, but then like somebody posts it, like you guys, and it's like, whoa, people are in the comments like, whoa, I didn't know this, or whatever. So you never know what people do or don't know, and just guys that post their daily work or how they do things, somebody's gonna learn something.
Yeah. One of the most recent things that absolutely blew my mind. Oh my goodness. I can't tell you how blown away I was. And although this seems like it's common sense to some people, I'm sure have probably been doing this for eons already, but they'll and I saw it off of Jeff Jadam's page where he got all thread and used his benders to bend it.
Oh
Mike Flynn
yeah,
did a video like that too, and they use that. They bend their all thread, and then they put pipe hangers on that all thread to hold it up against the wall nice and snug. And I'm like, oh my God, why didn't I
yeah.
think of that? You know?
I
But
feel like I say that all the time. Like, oh my god, why didn't I think of this? Why didn't I do this sooner or whatever? Like, it's
yeah,
always like something simple or something like, oh man, and then like it's the greatest thing, after you find out. And yeah,
yeah,
I've seen a lot of guys after he did that or they did that doing it, and they're like, man, this is great, and thanks to Jeff or Mike, or they'll thank him and stuff, and it's like, man, the stuff that you learn, and you're like, I would have never have thought of that, but like it's simple enough and it looks great.
yeah, yeah, 100%.
Here is Logan. Want to know why refrigerators last longer? It's or with fewer repairs, because not everybody and their mother is hooking up to the system, introducing air, and he always went off by Delta. So
Yeah,
that was another thing. Pat from Commercial Kitchen Chronicles
yeah,
posted that today, where he was checking a little reach-in cooler, I think, and a lot of the times they're sealed systems. They're not going to have any ports. These little coolers and freezers. Um, so you have no way of checking the charge. A lot of people will put a piercing valve on there to get a port. Now those tend to leak. A lot of people don't like them. I do use them if I absolutely need to check the charge. If we can't, if we know it's low or something, and we want to check it, most of the times you're going to recover and pull the charge anyway, because it's a critically charged system when you're dealing with these small coolers and freezers. And then you want to solder on service ports after the fact, but they come sealed. And he was showing that he checks it all by temperature. So he takes like temperature readings, whether it's like at the condenser, the coils, all that, and then he puts on his field piece clamps and checks the temperature of the line set and all that. and then that way he can figure out if everything's reading in the proper range. You have all these like Logan was talking about his delta. You have all these readings from temperatures. You can tell if the unit's working or not, or if it's
Yeah.
properly charged. And it's that's how we do it now. Before it was like, beer can cold. Is the line set coming out cold or is it warm? Oh, we're undercharged or whatever.
Yeah.
You can tell a lot by that. So, Logan has a point, and my pet peeve is people not doing the simple things the right way. So hooking up gauges, and whether you're adding refrigerant, topping it off, or anything like that, pull your vacuum all the way down, under 500 microns, and then purge your hoses. Because if you do an awesome repair and this and that, but then you forget something like that, you're going to introduce, contaminants and air into your system, and that causes like a whole bunch of headaches. So
Yeah. Yeah. Dye in that sealant, man. I don't. I know people have a certain belief of that, but I can't get on that.
if I ever do it, it's because it's and I don't use the dye one. I hate the dye one, but like we have these little leak seal cans that we use sometimes.
Hmm.
It's if they need to get by like a temporary repair while we're waiting for a part, which I have one
Yeah.
actually going on right now. And it is not like a super obvious leak. Like I have a leak in the evaporator, but it's like a micro leak. It leaks out after so much time. So I was like, let me put
Yeah.
this in for you because the coil is back ordered, so we're gonna have to wait a while. So it's a temporary repair. Now the dye, I absolutely hate that stuff.
Yeah.
Uh, I understand that there's like there's situations for it on huge systems like supermarkets. I think a lot of guys in the supermarket world use it, and then you got to think about it. They have line sets going all over the store and stuff like that. So I get it for that, but like these people that I know, and somebody made a comment. I don't know if it was on my video or on somebody else's, but I think it was on mine. They're like, yeah, and it has its purpose, but some of these dumbass techs, I don't know what he said exactly, but he's like, they put the whole cartridge in a tiny
Yeah.
system, and then like it gets everywhere. Like you hook up your gauges, it gets everywhere.
Oh, dude,
I hate that.
that's the worst. Even on my pros, man, I get that like dye all over the place, and I'm like, dude, it's on my hands, it's on my pants, it's on my probes. Like, I paid way too much money for these probes for them to get all dirty and dyed up, so I gotta go over, get some alcohol, clean them off.
Yeah.
It's just a pain getting it on.
Yeah, and I had the kit. I stopped using it, but I had the kit that came with a little spray cleaner and all that, but
Oh,
it never worked that great. Uh,
yeah.
Funny enough, I made a meme about it
Uh-huh.
a while back, and that company that makes the leak dye like commented, and they reached out to me, and
No
they're like,
way.
"Well, yeah," and I was like, "Well, it was like 10 to 12 years ago when I stopped using it." And they're like, "Well, we've come a long way. We would love to talk and this and that." So, um, I don't think I've heard back from them, but yeah, it was funny that they actually came out and saw the video.
Dang, dang. That's
All
cool though.
right, all right, man. I'm just going through the comments real quick. We've actually gone 2 hours. I don't
Yeah.
want to keep you too long.
All good, man.
Uh, where was I? Mario, humidity problems in McAllen. Yeah, it's uh it's a thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, everybody's weather is different. Like when it's hot here, it's like really hot. Like it's that, humid, sticky, like ugly hot. And then our cold, I think it's also due to the humidity. It's something where if it gets cold here, it's really bad too. We
Yeah.
had that freeze. couple years ago. And man,
That
that
was
was
fun.
rough.
Yeah,
And then people
yeah,
are like, "Oh, it's only like I think we had 28, 25 here, or no, I think we got to the low 20s." And then people up north
yeah,
are like, "That's nothing." And I'm like, "Well, it's a little. I think it's a little different, um, since we're not used to it, and we have all that humidity and all that other stuff that factors in. It feels a lot colder than what it is.
yeah. I would agree. I would agree.
I don't know like the whole science behind it, but I know it's a thing. People have talked about it.
Yeah. Speaking of science, I think there was a podcast I was listening to from HVAC school. It was at Janawak. And I'm probably gonna angry or get probably 20% of your viewers angry right now because the other 80% live in to some degree, a humid climate. But he said something like, if you do HVAC in a dry climate, you're not a real tech or something like that. And kind of based on, the science of how influential humidity is versus a dry climate. And I had a conversation with someone who does HVAC down in El Paso, Texas. So over there it's pretty dry. It's just dry heat, and we were just
Yeah,
going back and forth, just talking about how he wasn't a real tech, just trying to bust his chops a little bit.
yeah, it's different. Like you said, even up there, like in the attics, it might be different versus attics down here. It's all like it's all where you're at. Uh,
Yeah.
how do I pull this up?
So,
ML33. Shout out to Next Gen Heating and Plumbing. I've seen you
what's
guys
up, next
around.
gen?
Next Gen. Thanks for the super chat. Oh, there was another company in here too, and man, I lost the comment. We have Mario. Oh, Mario. Hold up, hold up. God, there's so many chats.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
we have Tomas. I laugh when I get this comment. Because a lot of
956.
people locally watch Puro 956. That's the catchphrase down here.
Your area code.
Yeah. That was funny because when I started, people would find my channel that were from here. They're like, "Oh, I didn't know you were from here." And then that was like one of the most popular comments I had for a while. I was like,
They're
"Yeah,
your true
okay,
supporters.
I've made it."
You're locally known.
Yeah, it's funny. I run into people at the supply houses. The guys at the supply house have seen my channel, so I was weirded out by it at first, but I got used to it.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Oh, you'll probably get that soon.
Yeah, I don't know.
Your uh,
We'll
your
see.
uh, your visionary page has been doing pretty well.
It has. It really has. We're absolutely grateful.
Oh, here it is, Mario. Can you give a shout out to Roberts Air from Galveston? What's up, guys?
Oh, Robert's here from Galveston. That's right by the coast, right? Yeah, that's by the coast.
What's this? Tell Dylan at Next Gen he don't need to buy promo. Who's? Oh, I guess that's the super chat that came in. Whoa, Logan with the super
Ooh,
chat. What's up,
dang,
man?
bro.
I
The
can't
man.
see. I can't see what his profile is. I think it says true something. I got a lot of
Something in the
companies in
chat
the
region.
chat right now.
Oh, you
Oh,
were the
True
one that
Heating.
did yeah, you were the one that did Becca's fathers or something like that. Becca from Viga. Um, right? I'm pretty
Oh, you
sure.
know these guys.
I think so.
True
Yeah.
Heating, Colorado. True Results. Great show. Have a great night.
You too, bro. You too.
All right, man.
Thank
We
you for joining.
are, like I said, we went over 2 hours. I usually try to keep this around an hour, but we had a great chat. I appreciate you for coming on, man. It
Yeah,
was great
man.
hearing
Thank you for
hearing your
having me.
story. You had a lot of good things to say, and like I said, I'll probably have you with some of the guys from your group on soon. I think that'll be fun.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Well, I
Logan
appreciate you.
went to
Ah,
her
yeah.
dad's
Okay.
house.
That's cool. That's awesome. But
All right,
Adrian,
man.
thank you for having me on, man.
Any last words? Any tips you want to give out,
Yeah.
or
Just
parting
uh,
words?
just keep looking up, and that goalpost is constantly moving. Make sure you keep up with it.
Go check out Efren at Pure on Parole. I like the play on words there. 410 being phased out.
That's right.
He has to be on parole. Um, I'll leave all his information in the description. Pure on Parole on Instagram, HVAC Visionaries on Instagram and TikTok. Go check these guys out. They're doing great things, great work, and spreading the word. That's what we want. So appreciate you for coming on, man.
Adrian, it was a pleasure, man. You have a great night.
All right, I'm gonna cue the outro and oh crap. Okay, cue the outro and I'll see you guys.
See ya.